Hey guys, it's Bookish Vegan here, or Natalia, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my all-time favorite series. So yes, I've narrowed down 13 series that I think would classify as my favorite series of all time. It was so hard to make this list. You have no idea how much I struggled. I really wanted to do a top 10, but I just couldn't take 3 series out of this list. So you have 13. So I'm warning you, this video will probably be quite long, so just grab yourself a hot drink and some snacks and let's just dive on into my favorite series. But before we do, I'm just gonna mention that this video is gonna include a variety of series, so it's not just all fantasy. There are some contemporaries, chick flicks, and science fiction books. So let's just get on into the video. So I'm going to start off with the Remnant Chronicles by Mary A. Pearson. So the first book being The Kiss of Deception. Not only are these covers of these books stunning, I already knew as soon as I heard about this series. Literally it took me 2 years or 3 years to pick these books up finally, but I knew I was gonna love them, so I got them in hardcovers, because if you haven't noticed, I don't own too many hardcovers because they are quite expensive. But look how beautiful they are. So if you don't know what this trilogy is about, it basically follows Princess Leia, who is involved in a political marriage, or she is supposed to be, and she's supposed to get married to a prince of a different land without meeting him, and she just didn't want to be a political pawn in this marriage, so she runs away and she gets chased by an assassin from another kingdom, because there's 3 kingdoms, and the prince that she was supposed to marry. And we also follow those 2 perspectives, so we followed the princess, the assassin, and the prince. And I just had so much fun in the first book figuring out who was who. It's just such a fun ride. The main protagonist, so the princess, undergoes some amazing character development. Literally the person she becomes in The Beauty of Darkness is like so badass and such a great character. I absolutely loved the ending to this trilogy, and I know that Mary A. Pearson is writing a companion. I'm definitely gonna be picking that one up because I absolutely love this series. The next series that I'm gonna share with you guys today is, of course, the Queen of the Tearling trilogy by Erica Johansson. I absolutely knew I was gonna fall in love with this trilogy because just the whole concept is just brilliant. I have no idea how to describe this book because so much happens in this trilogy. But in the first book we follow Kelsey, who finds out, well, she knows already, but the Queen's Guard come and take her away from the home that she grew up in, so she becomes the queen. And it's just heavily politically based. I absolutely loved that aspect. There is no like concrete romance in this trilogy, but the characters and the plot make up for it. The political aspect is beautifully unraveled in the story. It's just beautiful, and it just, like, the ending blew my mind. This next trilogy is a recent read of mine, so I only started it I think in September, but I've already finished it. There are companion books that take place like 20 years after the concluding novel's like plot, but it is, you guessed it, the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. So the first book being The Final Empire. And what I love about this trilogy series is the world. The world and the magic system is beautifully written. It was just magical reading about it. I literally felt like I was in the world with the main characters, well, with all the characters. I love the crew that Kelsey in the first book like gets together to carry out this incredibly impossible mission of overruling the Lord Ruler who has ruled for 1,000 years. Literally, if that doesn't entice you, I don't know what will. I got this trilogy as a gift from one of my friends for my birthday this year, and I'm so glad he picked it up for me because I had a feeling I would love Brandon Sanderson's writing, and I was not wrong. All these books are pretty much like 600 pages over. Some of them are like bordering 800 pages, and I fly through them. Like, I can easily devour one of these books in a week, which says a lot because the font is very tiny. Well, not as tiny, but there's a lot on a page. And I actually got a chance to meet Brandon Sanderson, I think it was last month, and he signed each of my books. And look, he said, "I am hope," which is something that Kelsia says on page, if you're wondering, because I have it marked 573 in my novel. It's an amazing trilogy, and I definitely suggest you give Brandon Sanderson a go, especially if you're really in the mood for a high fantasy with such a complex world and such a complex, like, its own magical system, that it's flipping amazing. Literally, I'm so obsessed with this trilogy. I even got a sticker on my laptop. Where is it? There it is. That says which misting I would be. So I got Suva, and I feel like I would be a Suva. So this next series I definitely had to include because I am such a fan. I have a tattoo from this series, and I have 3 shelves dedicated to this series. So of course you guessed it, it's the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Yes, I got all the books from my bookshelf, so that's, I don't even know how to hold it up. Oh, there we go, I got it. But you know guys, why everyone loves Harry Potter. It's just magical. It's my childhood. I only picked up the books I think in 2014-15, so I was 15-16, but the movies I have grown up with. I absolutely love the Golden Trio. If you can see, they're actually there. I have the Pop Funkos, and I'm burning a Loyal Badger candle, but I just love this series a lot. I reread it basically every year. I'm currently still rereading Prisoner of Azkaban, the illustrated edition, but you know, I'm never gonna grow out of the wizarding world of Harry Potter, so of course I had to include this in my all-time favorite series. The next series is The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare, which is the prequel to her ever-famous series Mortal Instruments. So if you don't know, this is a trilogy that's kind of like a prequel to the Shadowhunter world, and it takes place in 1800s London. That setting is one of my favorites. Like, one of my favorite settings because I just love prehistoric Britain a lot. I feel like it's very rich in culture, and it's a very interesting historical period. Yeah, I love the main character, Tessa Gray. I really related to her a lot. She's a bookworm, and I don't know, I just loved her character development throughout this trilogy. I love Will Herondale. Let's not even go there, okay? You guys know how much I love him if you've seen some of my previous videos, like my first ever videos, and I feel like the plot throughout these books was just very enticing. I was drawn in. I'm not gonna lie, like the first book, Clockwork Angel, for me, the first couple of pages I was like, what is this? I did not expect this. I didn't even know what I was getting myself into, and the ending I found so bittersweet. You have no idea how much I cried. So of course I had to include a Cassandra Clare series on here. Now we have one of the series that actually got me into reading. It's not fantasy, it's actually a chick flick series by Lindsay Kelk, and it is the I Heart series. I have read her other series. I haven't read all her books, but I ended up getting rid of those books off my shelves because this one is just my love. I love it so much. As you can see, there's quite a lot of books in this chick flick series. There's 7, and my favorite is by far the one that I started my love of this series with, which is the 6th book, I Heart Christmas. So yes, I didn't read these in order, and I recommend that you do read these in order, but it doesn't matter if you pick up the first book or the last book, you're still gonna have an amazing time. So I think I talked about this series a little bit on my channel, but it basically follows Angela Clark, who is a witty, humorous Brit who in the first book finds out that her boyfriend is cheating on her, and I think she finds out on her best friend's wedding day. But yeah, she just has kind of like this shock, and she's like, what is happening to my life? I have a job that I don't like, and I've always wanted to be a writer. So she just packs up like a normal human being and jets off to New York City to pursue her dreams, and then she falls in love. I absolutely love this series so much. It brings warmth and joy into my life, and I love rereading it. This next trilogy is another one that probably won't surprise you guys, but it is the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy by Jenny Han. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite contemporary book series that I have ever read. Again, I reread this constantly. Literally, I think Always and Forever Lara Jean I reread like last week. Lara Jean is just just me as a book character. No, I'm kidding. But I just love her so much. I love the family dynamics. I love the relationships. My favorite one is definitely the one that came out most recently because there's no love triangles. I just love it. I love this contemporary so much. So I always recommend for people to read this because the movie is coming out soon, which I'll be definitely going to see. So I can't wait, and I just love it. So this next series is probably going to be even more difficult to hold up, but it is the one that got me into book blogging. If you didn't know, I have a blog which I'll leave a link to in the down bar, but that's what really got me inspired to join the book internet community. Even though it's book blogging, I still own a lot to this series, and it is the Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin, also known as A Song of Ice and Fire. That's what I should have said first, but you have no idea how much I love the characters, the density of these books. Literally my arms are killing me, but I'm going to stay strong and hold these up until I'm done talking about them. I just love how unexpected everything is. You have no idea who's gonna live, who's gonna die, how the plot is going to progress further. We have an amazing TV show to go with these amazing books. I do definitely recommend, if you're a fan of the TV show, to definitely pick these books up because it just provides so much more detail than what the show does. Love this series, and I own a lot to George R.R. Martin. This next series is actually one of the shortest on this list, and it is the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. This was my first ever works that I've read by Leigh Bardugo. I'm so glad I started with this because I'm probably going to read the Grisha trilogy and Wonder Woman Warbringer. This is going to always be the love of my life. I absolutely love the 6 main characters that we have in this book. So we have Kazbreca, the one that forms this epic crew that goes in an epic heist. So yeah, we have Kazbreca, Inej, Nina, Matthias, Jesper, and Wyland. I never know how to pronounce his name, but I love the diversity in this book. I love the romances and the friendship and the plot. I just remember so much that I loved in this book. I just love everything so much. We have epic girl friendships in this book, and boy friendships, and friendships between the sexes, and cute romances that make sense. Just love it. So this next trilogy is the Starbound trilogy by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I wanted to pick up these books for the longest time ever, and look how beautiful they are. Yes, they were kind of a cover buy, but the stories inside did not disappoint. Again, I did not know what to expect whilst going into this trilogy. I absolutely love Amy Kaufman's writing because I read her Illuminae series with J. Kristoff, and that's phenomenal as well. Sadly didn't make the list, I know, but this one just has such cute romances. I love each character that we follow because each book we follow 2 different characters, a boy and a girl, and my favorite is definitely Their Fractured Light. It's just such an epic trilogy that's all about fighting a very bad industry and kind of exposing them for what they really are, and it's just getting together with other characters and fighting for the greater good, and I love it. This next series is another series that took me by surprise, and it is a sci-fi fantasy, and that is the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. Marissa Meyer has definitely become one of my favorite authors because Heartless was another amazing book, but this one again follows a different set of characters, but we do get to see the other characters as well in the next books, and I just loved it. Cinder is a retelling of Cinderella, Scarlet is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, Cress is a retelling of Rapunzel, who's one of my favorite princesses, so of course I loved Cress, and Winter is a retelling of Snow White. And yeah, I just again love the cast of characters in every book. I feel like they're unique, and it's just nothing I've ever read before, and I loved the romances and I loved the plot. Okay guys, we have 2 more series to get through, so this next one is another long one, and it is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Again, this one was one of my favorite series just because of what it taught me, like how much I love young adult fantasy. I don't know, I just remember after I finished my GCSEs, I finally decided to give it a go and I fell in love with the world. I fell in love with the characters. Definitely Crown of Midnight, which is the second book because The Assassin's Blade is the prequel. I absolutely loved because Cal Westfall is my baby. I love him so much, like I love Lucian from A Court of Thorns and Roses series. And yeah, I'm so glad that we got Tower of Dawn. I absolutely love that book. You'll probably hint be seeing it in my top 10 books of 2017. Just an amazing series. I love Sarah J Maas, so of course I had to include this series on this list. Okay, the last series that I could not include is another Sarah J Maas series, and that is the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I just could not decide between Throne of Glass or this series. Again, love the characters, love the plot. It's just, I love how mind-blowing Sarah J Maas's writing and world development is. A Court of Wings and Ruin is probably my favorite in the series just because I got to see more of my favorite characters, so Nesta, Cassian, Lucian. I kind of wish we still got more of him because we get the most of him in the first book. It's just beautiful and I'm so excited for the next book. Guys, we have finally come to the end of all my favorite series of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments below some of your favorite series or series that you would class as your favorite of all time out of all the series that you've read. I know it's very hard, but try it. It's so much fun to narrow it down, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.